Welcome back, my friends. Episode 308. If you can't tell, I'm pretty stoked about these 2 episodes on climbing. Climbing means a lot to me. It has not only taken up quite a bit of space in my schedule that I assumed was already pretty tight, but it's amazing what is possible when you find more love in your life. Being in love pushes everything else that doesn't feel quite like it aside. And climbing is my new love. It's exciting. It challenges me. I look forward to it every time, filled with hopes and some fears, and I learn so much from it. Climbing has a major impact on my life, and I'm sure you can tell because I talk about it a lot in many of my episodes. It has brought me face to face with parts inside of me that I didn't think existed. And that is why we are talking about it today. Because I wish the same for you. I wish you find people and activities that give your life joy, excitement, and meaning, that take you beyond the superficial and into the deeper parts of yourself, where you discover more about yourself, both the good and the bad, and where your eyes open to the beauty of this world and the amazing gifts this life has for you. Climbing has shown me that for most of my life, I have dabbled on the surface. I was merely a follower, an inactive participant, an observer or bystander. I went along with what everyone said was good and safe and reasonable. I avoided risks of all kinds. I didn't allow myself to think outside the box. And I let myself be defined by roles and titles, even though they always disappointed me. Through climbing, I've discovered that there is a richness to life that all the media, social and unsocial, all the stuff we keep amassing, and all the short-lived and artificial experiences that companies manufacture for us can never completely fulfill me. Climbing is an experience that I create entirely for myself, and yet, quite interestingly, is very much out of my control. I organize with people to go with. This includes planning a route to climb, transportation, start times, very critical, sometimes overnight accommodations, food, and other details. All this sounds still like a nice little vacation. Upon arriving, however, there is no shuttle that awaits, no mini fridge with cold drinks, but quite often a long hike to the base of the mountain. Some hikes are so steep and already half a climb in themselves, to the extent that I have arrived drenched at the mountain without having even climbed yet. Then the mountain awaits. If you ever struggled with the meaning of the phrase, "it is what it is," just think of it when you look up a mountain you are planning to climb. It is what it is, and there's nothing you can change. You climb or you don't. Control is limited to only your mind at this point. Sometimes, with the sun beating on the mountain, to make it even more challenging. Sometimes there are people already there, so you have to wait for them to climb. Sometimes you realize you don't feel super good, have to go to the bathroom, or forgot something. Whatever it is what it is. Deal with it and figure it out. Then I climb. It's me in the mountain. Some communication with my partner, but he will not help me get up. The climbing is on me. My support limited to a pair of climbing shoes. They will grip to the often flat surface if I use them properly. My harness and all the other gear is there to keep me alive. But climbing is all on me. Foot by foot, hand by hand, thinking through every move, dealing with what the mountain gives me as support in form of holds, ledges, crevices, knobs, and so on. And sometimes it's very little. And every step higher confronts me with a new scenario. Pure presence. I have reached ledges and celebrated, taken selfies, felt happy that I have come so far and that it was fairly manageable, only to start the last 50 meters facing huge difficulties, unable to find good holds and struggling with every move. But there isn't anyone to ask, to blame, or to yell at. Sometimes friendly people nearby give me hints and shout out motivations. But the climbing, the entire experience of climbing, is on me. The moment I think I've got this, I control this. The mountain, the weather, or my body shows me how wrong I was. Miguel Ruiz's agreement, never make assumptions, is great advice for climbers. Prepare as much as you can, but never assume you have it all under control because of that. And when I have reached the summit, I have to remind myself, I am only halfway. The hike down can be steep and dangerous. The rappel can be scary and always takes longer than expected. I realize that none of this sounds appealing to you, as you probably sit in your comfortable car right now listening to this. But this is exactly why I climb. I seek out people to go with, look for days on my calendar, and select mountains to climb, again and again, because I don't have anything comparable in my life that teaches me aliveness. During those days out in the wild, I sometimes look into my past. I think about what I did on a similar day, years back. Those beautiful sunny Saturday afternoons, or the crisp and clean Sunday mornings. I don't have regrets. The movies were entertaining. The shopping rewarding. The friends funny and enlightening. And my bed soft and warm for the extra hours recovering from a long night. Some days, especially when on vacation in another city or country, came close to climbing experiences. But most of those times, I was not alive. With my mind disengaged, my body underutilized, and my creativity ignored. I was not present. I was living, breathing, but I was not alive. Let me read you this passage from Robert McFarlane's Mountains of the Mind, Adventures in Reaching the Summit. Mountains seem to answer an increasingly imaginative need in the West. More and more people are discovering a desire for them and a powerful solace in them. At bottom, mountains, like all wildernesses, challenge our complacent conviction, so easy to lapse into, that the world has been made for humans by humans. Most of us exist, for most of the time, in worlds which are humanly arranged, themed and controlled. One forgets that there are environments which do not respond to the flick of a switch or the twist of a dial, and which have their own rhythms and orders of existence. Mountains correct this amnesia by speaking of greater forces than we can possibly invoke, and by confronting us with greater spans of time than we can possibly envisage. Mountains refute our excessive trust in the man-made. They pose profound questions about our durability and the importance of our schemes. They induce, I suppose, a modesty in us. I shared with you yesterday that climbing found me. But why me? Why not you? Sure, more and more people over the years are discovering climbing, which can probably be attributed to the information overload we all try to get away from. But what is it about me and climbing? Why am I so in love with a sport that is so frightening when I'm not a risky person at all? What is it about hanging on a rock for hours when I'm never patient and prefer to get things done and over with quickly? I told you I was a runner. Running makes much more sense for me. Why stone, when all these years I thought water was my element? Swimming for hours in the ocean, being carried by waves, feeling fresh and alive in the vastness of an ocean. I thought that was it. Now mountains, they never attracted me. I thought they were cold, mute, and lifeless. Why now? This past Sunday I went for a run. It had been a long time that I did my customary Sunday morning run through the nearby cemetery that overlooks all of Oakland with San Francisco in the background. As I stood up there, sweaty, breathing hard from a steep run, I thought, how interesting. This is just like climbing. The sweat, the hard work, and then the view. It suddenly sunk in. It's the view. My life flashed by in seconds. I've always loved a good view. I chose apartments that were on the top floor. Exploring new places, I always sought out the peaks. And I always get a window seat on a plane so I can enjoy the view. Any view reminds me of my room in my grandparents' home, where I grew up. overlooking cornfields, pastures with cows, and my grandmother's huge garden. A house that I loved, but with a life that was complicated at the time. Looking out my bedroom or the attic where I spent many hours exploring, I always dreamt, what would my future look like? Where would I live and who would I become? Anything was possible then. With the view in front of me, I felt freedom coming. Opportunities, a big life, something amazing awaiting me just beyond the horizon. So I finally realized, this Sunday, on a hill that I had run up 100 times already, that it is all about the view. Hard-earned, difficult to achieve, physically and mentally extremely challenging, but worth it. So worth it. Because the view means everything to me. Since I was a little girl, it removed me from the chaos, the restlessness, and all the family drama. It gave me peace. There I was, above it all, on top of the world. It was like a break for my brain, to breathe, to take it all in, to see beyond the immediate, looking out for better to come. The view was and still is my ticket to freedom, to a bigger life, to endless possibilities. And without realizing it, I still seek this view, because it still provides me with the same happiness as it did many, many years ago. In that big house, alone by the window, peace or war below, it didn't matter. I was safe, and I would one day be out of it all. That is by working so hard for it now. All this planning, all the time away from my responsibilities that later catch up with me, reaching the boundaries of physical and mental strength, and even risking my life, makes it all worthwhile. So worthwhile. This, my friends, is what I realized, that there is a connection between the climbing and my soul. The climbing is part of my quest for me, because it meets certain desires within me. It connects me with my true inner self. It meets a need deep-seated within me. And that is why climbing fulfills me, more than any good movie or any pair of shoes. Because it's permanent. It's healing, it has purpose, it is meant for me. And I wish the same for you. I wish that you find the activities in life that fulfill you completely. Because you are creating the experiences yourself. You don't depend on anyone to create them for you. You go out and go after it. You are designing them based on what is calling for attention on your inside. And you know best what that is. Maybe it doesn't make sense right away, but you feel it. It's good for you. It helps you be a better human being. That's how you know. I wish that you find the things in life that do more than distract or numb you, but that engage you, challenge you, teach you and heal you, and then leave you in deep awe and bewilderment at the beauty of this amazing life. Go out and search until you find what it is for you. Don't give up with the first distraction. Don't think a house or a car will give this feeling to you, because they won't. Keep searching until you find deep and genuine fulfillment and happiness with a task, any task, no matter how modest, and give your full self to it. So much love from my heart to yours. Until next time.